Well, the breaking news of the night, reported by MSNBC's Ken Delanian, who will join our coverage this hour, is that federal prosecutors have written a memo arguing against trying to charge former FBI Director James Comey with crimes. Donald Trump has publicly demanded that James Comey be charged with lying to Congress, which is only possible in the next 6 days before the statute of limitations would run out and make it impossible to charge James Comey on that. This week, Donald Trump forced out the U.S. attorney who he personally installed in the Eastern District of Virginia after that U.S. attorney refused to try to bring charges against James Comey. Donald Trump replaced that U.S. attorney with a woman who has never tried a case of any kind in federal court and has never been a prosecutor, but did serve as one of the lowest-ranking members of Donald Trump's criminal defense team. Donald Trump's attempt to illegitimately use federal power, including federal prosecutorial power, literally knows no bounds in either direction. There's no rule too small for Donald Trump to break and no rule too big for Donald Trump to break. And as you just heard today, Donald Trump had a statue of him and his pal Jeffrey Epstein removed from the National Mall, where the statue had a permit to appear this week until Sunday at 8 p.m. The National Park Service removed the statue this morning, as they said, due to it not being in compliance with the permit. But the National Park Service refuses to say how the statue was not in compliance. It's a 12-foot tall statue, as you just saw, bronze painted statue of Donald Trump and the man who said he was Donald Trump's closest friend for 10 years, the sex trafficker and raper of children, Jeffrey Epstein, who Donald Trump said was a terrific guy. The two men are holding hands in the statue and smiling at each other. That statue made Donald Trump the first president in history to have a statue of himself placed in Washington during his presidency. The National Park Service possibly violating its own permit rules to take down the statue is the least, as we said, of Donald Trump's abuses of presidential power. Last night, in a special election, voters in Arizona gave our first guest tonight one more member of the Democratic team in the House of Representatives. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries will be joined on the House floor by Democrat Adelita Grijalva, who won a special election for the House seat held by her father, Congressman Raul Grijalva, until his death in March of this year. That means one more signature for the discharge petition that can force a vote in the House of Representatives to release the Epstein files. Semaphore reports that Republican Congressman Thomas Massie is, quote, declaring victory on his move to force a vote on releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files after the election to fill a vacant Arizona House seat. And he says House Speaker Mike Johnson and some of the powers that be in D.C. are in full panic right now about it. They came back and tried to get the four of us to take our names off the petition, Massie told Semaphore after an event in his northern Kentucky district. They asked some of my colleagues who are co-signers, and they actually threatened them politically, not physically. Massie said if Johnson uses parliamentary tactics to evade a vote, that there's enough notoriety on this issue that people will know that he's sweeping this under the rug. He also said if there is language included in a bill to sideline the petition, those who vote for that bill are part of the cover-up. And the reviews are in for Donald Trump's deranged speech to the United Nations yesterday. Deranged was the word chosen by the British newspaper, the Daily Mirror, which also called Donald Trump the world's most powerful man-baby on the front page. The subheadline says Trump rants to the UN about climate, migrants, Gaza, Sadiq's Sharia London, escalators, marble floors, and teleprompters. The world's most powerful man-baby called for an investigation of why the escalator at the United Nations stopped while Donald Trump
For
was
Republicans,
on it.
the current trajectory raises concern.
The Trump staffer assigned to record video of Donald Trump's escalator ride probably stopped the escalator by mistake as he walked backwards at the top of the escalator. The United Nations issued a statement about the investigation, saying a subsequent investigation, including a readout of the machine's central processing unit, indicated that the escalator had stopped after a built-in safety mechanism on the comb step was triggered at the top of the escalator. The safety mechanism is designed to prevent people or objects accidentally being caught and stuck in or pulled into the gearing. The videographer may have inadvertently triggered the safety function described above. The children at Fox rallied around the world's most powerful man baby and decided before the UN investigation that the escalator problem and a malfunctioning teleprompter were sabotage.
Yeah, they sabotaged them.
Yeah.
And they could have hurt the First Lady.
Yeah.
Trump would have fallen and would have gotten back up. But, you know,
they would have blamed it on his rhetoric.
And then they sabotaged the teleprompter.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an insurrection. And what we need to do is either leave the UN or we need to bomb it. It is in New York.
There were no threats from Donald Trump or his administration against the stupidest person at Fox saying we need to bomb the United Nations. Rupert Murdoch, the billionaire owner-operator of the Fox propaganda channel, had absolutely no problem with one of the people he pays to lie for Donald Trump advocating bombing the United Nations. Presumably, their defense is it was a joke. That is not a defense that Donald Trump and his thuggish administration accepted in the case of Jimmy Kimmel, who came back on television last night.
Federal prosecutors have authored a memo recommending against charging former FBI Director James Comey with crimes, despite President Donald Trump's public insistence on pursuing him for allegedly lying to Congress. The statute of limitations expires in 6 days, making any indictment impossible thereafter. Trump recently ousted the U.S. Attorney for Virginia's Eastern District, a position he personally appointed after the official refused to advance charges. His replacement, Lindsey Halligan, a low-ranking member of Trump's criminal defense team with no federal prosecutorial or trial experience, now oversees the case. Sources indicate line prosecutors, including Halligan's deputy, view the evidence as insufficient for a probable cause, let alone conviction, raising concerns of political weaponization. Trump's overreach extends beyond the DOJ. The National Park Service removed a 12-foot bronze-painted statue depicting Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, his former closest friend and convicted sex trafficker, holding hands and smiling from a national mall on September 24th. Installed by anonymous artist The Secret Handshake for Friendship Month, the piece, titled Best Friends Forever, featured a plaque quoting Trump's alleged birthday note to Epstein and was permitted until September 28th. Officials cited permit noncompliance but declined specifics, prompting free speech advocates to decry potential administration pressure. The White House dismissed it as a liberal stunt, noting Trump's past fallout with Epstein. This marks the first statue of a sitting president in Washington during his term, amplifying scrutiny amid calls for Epstein file transparency. In Arizona's special election on September 23rd, Democrat Adelita Grijalva won the 7th congressional district seat vacated by her late father, Representative Raul Grijalva, who died in March. The victory over Republican Daniel Gutierrez narrows the GOP House majority to 219 to 214 and delivers the 218th signature for a bipartisan discharge petition led by Representative Thomas Massie, Republican Kentucky, and Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat California. The measure forces a vote to release all unredacted Epstein files within 30 days, bypassing leadership. Massie declared victory, telling Semaphore that Speaker Mike Johnson and D.C. insiders are in full panic, pressuring co-signers, including Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican Georgia, Nancy Mace, Republican South Carolina, and Lauren Boebert, Republican Colorado, with political threats. All Democrats back it. Massie warned any sideline vote implicates participants in a cover-up. Grijalva, Arizona's first Latina congresswoman, pledged to sign immediately emphasizing accountability. Global ridicule followed Trump's September 23rd UN General Assembly speech, labeled deranged by the Daily Mirror, which dubbed him the world's most powerful man-baby. The hour-long address, for times allotted, rambled on escalator and teleprompter failures, which Trump called sabotage and boasts of ending 7 wars, e.g. Cambodia, Thailand, Israel, Iran, claiming multiple Nobel Prizes. A UN probe found the escalator halt triggered by a safety mechanism, likely hit by a Trump videographer walking backward. Fox News speculated conspiracy, with host Jesse Waters joking about bombing the UN. No repercussions from owner Rupert Murdoch. Trump demanded investigations, but the UN cleared staff. Jimmy Kimmel's Jimmy Kimmel Live returned September 23rd to a 6.2 million viewer ratings high, nearly 4 times usual, despite Nexstar and Sinclair affiliates, 23% of U.S. households, boycotting over his Charlie Kirk comments. Kimmel defended satire as anti-American to silence, thanking supporters including Ted Cruz. Trump canceled a September 25th budget meeting with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, citing ridiculous demands like transgender operations for everybody, dead people on Medicaid, and want ing crime. The duo sought Obamacare subsidy extensions amid shutdown risks by September 30th. Trump called it a Trump shutdown avoidance, accusing Democrats of radical policies. Schumer labeled him a tantrum thrower. Jeffries quipped, Trump always chickens out. Republicans push a clean stopgap. Democrats tie funding to health care. With Trump's man-baby antics, from DOJ purges to UN rants, negotiations teeter, testing constitutional norms amid Epstein shadows and shutdown brinkmanship.